Hey there. Thanks so much for tuning into this video. My name's Zach Reese. I'm actually the owner of Colony Roofers based out of Atlanta, Georgia. I have a feeling if you found this video that you're in the process of trying to replace your roof or buy a new roof, or maybe you know someone that's in the process of trying to replace the roof. And obviously, one of the biggest decisions to make is not only which contractor to use, but which type of materials to use. So I wanted to take a quick minute to go over just a general overview of the different shingles that are available, kind of the standard level of architectural shingles, which is kind of the standard in the industry right now, and how Colony Roofers decides which shingles to propose to our customers, and how you can best make a decision on which shingles to use for your home. So if you look at the roofing industry and specifically the shingle industry, you really have four big players in that market. There's certainly some smaller companies, but these four big players are the ones that you'll see most roofing companies recommend because of the quality of the shingles that they provide. Um, and those four are Owens Corning, Atlas, Certainteed, and GAF. I always like to mention to our customers that I'm one of the only companies that I'm aware of that really has no allegiance to any of these suppliers or manufacturers, I should say. We've installed all four of these brands. We've done thousands of roofs and have a lot of experience with the different roofing systems. But when it comes to recommending consistently shingles from a certain manufacturer, we decided to really step back and take more of a holistic database view to make sure that we were really making the best decision because we know our customers trust us through the buying process. So let's take a look at the data. What I've done here is gone ahead and pulled the data sheets for each of three of the big four companies that we mentioned. You can see here on the screen I have Certainteed and GAF, and I also have Owens Corning here ready to take a peek at that. Like I mentioned before, we're looking at the standard architectural line as I think that's the most reasonable and consistent shingle line across all three brands. So you can see here we're looking at the Certainteed Landmark Premium shingles and the GAF Timberline HDZ shingles. One of the things that's really interesting to me right off the bat is it's pretty widely known that GAF is the top selling shingle in the market, and I think you'll see as we go through some of this stuff that that may have something to do with a lot more money being spent on marketing than it does necessarily the shingles themselves. It is interesting as you look at these data sheets, though, how much uh, more polished and marketing driven this GAF data sheet is, even including colors, which I really wouldn't consider data-based points, but nonetheless, they have a small box over here that has the data that we're looking for. Similarly, Owens Corning is going to look a little bit flashier. They as well tend to market extremely well, and they as well have put their colors in here. But again, the applicable standards and codes are down here, which is really what we're looking for at the end of the day. So as we go through these data sheets, keep in mind we're agnostic as far as which brand is better or worse. We're literally looking at the data just to try and figure out, which shingle do we want to put on a roof. So if we look at Certainteed, we'll start going down here, and I pulled this one up first because it seems to be the easiest to read just because it has less eye candy in it. But you'll see most of these shingles are going to have, actually all of these shingles are going to have the general applicable standards that are listed here. So I don't want to get too much into the weeds, but ASTM stands for American Society for Testing and Materials, and these are different standards that society has that they're going around and testing these different manufacturers' shingles for to make sure that they meet the qualifications. Similarly, UL stands for Underwriters Laboratory. That is another organization that does testing procedures. The important thing that I want to mention here about applicable standards is that no matter which of these three data sheets we take a look at, you're going to see that both of these organizations, ASTM and UL, have certified all three of these shingles, and although I don't have the Atlas data sheet pulled up, you would see the exact same thing on the Atlas data sheet. You can see here the applicable standards and codes. They are all at the exact same level. You can see here, let's just pick one for example, ASTM D, D3462, and you can see here ASTM D3462. You can see their wind ratings are the same with a class F wind rating for both of these shingles. Similarly, if we go over to the GAF sheet, we can see here you also have a class F wind rating. So as far as the agnostic, I guess what we can call rating or inspection agencies go, ASTM and UL, they are completely impartial and they've rated all of these shingles identical across the board. So as far as these data sheets go, we really aren't going to see a whole lot of difference. It just comes down to marketing and what that company has done to get their brand out there and how they've branded the different technologies that they have trademarked or developed for their shingles. As far as some of the branding and trademarks, you have things like layer lock technology here. You have 99% nailing accuracy with a strike zone. We'll take a look at that. What I've done is I've pulled some data and compiled it into a table that we'll take a look at next. And even Certainteed here, you can see the weight of the shingles. They've mentioned that. So we'll take a look at data side by side so that you can see. But for purposes of these sheets, it's good to see that all of these brands have met the standards that are required. And that's honestly expected from my standpoint because they wouldn't be one of those big four brands if they hadn't met those standards. So here's where we get to the sheet that we've kind of compiled that shows data regarding all of these different shingles. It's much easier to see in this grid format. So this is going to be the last part to this video and lead us to the final conclusion of which shingle we recommend. You can see here there's all three of the brands. We haven't included Atlas here. Atlas typically will line up about in connection with GAF and Owens Corning. And you can see as we go through this list that if you go down and look at the landmark architectural, let's just start off here with basic warranty. Generally, they're all very competitive. As you can imagine, in such a commodity industry where one shingle is really not that much different from another shingle. They're all offering very similar warranties. There is one thing that I mentioned in another warranty specific video that you'll definitely want to watch that talks about the slight, subtle differences between these warranties because while we lump them up into general lifetime limited and lifetime warranties, the fine print is really where you need to look for this stuff. It's great if it says, limited lifetime warranty or lifetime 50-year, but then there's everything you under the sun, everything you can possibly imagine is accepted from that warranty. Then obviously you as a homeowner, that's not going to help you at all when you really need it. So again, just continue going down the list here. You can see, like I said, very similar shingles, very similar specs and data that we're getting on these. Um, the only place that you'll really start to see a difference is subtly in the nailing area, although I don't want to place too much weight on that because we have very experienced crews. I know many of the larger contractors in Atlanta have very experienced crews also, so you're not dealing with amateurs that are installing the roof, so they know exactly where the shingle needs to be nailed. That being said, it's nice to see some brands have an 1.5 inch nailing area just for a little bit of extra leeway as the crew is installing the shingle. The place that I really like to look at, because there are so many similarities in here, and you may have already spotted it at this point, but the weight per square is really what it comes down to for a shingle. If you think about shingle technology, you really have just a couple of layers, and the largest layer to the shingle is going to be the asphalt. So the asphalt piece of the shingle or the asphalt layer of the shingle is also the heaviest. So this weight per square really speaks to how much asphalt is manufactured, on each shingle, and they've done this on a per square basis, which in roofing terminology just means per 100 square feet. So you can see here the clear differentiator between the GAF, Owens Corning, and Certainteed shingles is that weight per square. You can see Malarkey actually has a very solid weight per square also, as does BP. However, they will tend to lag behind a little bit in some of the other data that we looked at previously. So we at Colony Roofers really believe that at the end of the day, the pricing on these shingles is very similar across the board, meaning it really would not affect the price of the roof that we provide our customers if we chose to use Owens Corning or GAF or Malarkey or Certainteed. It has no impact. So at the end of the day, what we're looking for is the shingle that should have the best opportunity to withstand, the elements on your roof. And at the end of the day, the asphalt and the granules are the thing that has the most impact on that, and why they've really not changed shingle technology a tremendous amount in the past 30 to 40 years. And so we highly recommend to our customers going with Certainty simply because of that excess weight. You're really getting, if you think about it, let's say 238 pounds versus 212 pounds. You're paying the same price for either shingle essentially, but you're really getting 10% more asphalt added to the shingle with these Certainty landmark architectural shingles. And again, very similar, almost identical specs as far as the rest of it goes. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of the numbers and why we here at Colony Roofers really wanted to look back at the data instead of relying on the great marketing of some of these shingle companies. We look at the data, and we do this periodically to make sure as things change and as companies change their formulas or potentially come up with a new technology, we're still recommending the best option to our customers. You won't see us really affiliated with any of the major shingle brands. So whether it's GAF, Certainteed, Owens Corning, we are not, a platinum member, or we don't push, one brand towards our customers for a 10-year period to become a Uber Elite, certified contractor or platinum member or anything like that. We're really looking to give our customers what's the best in the market at this time, and we truly believe, based on the data, that Certainteed is the answer.